This is the corresponding video for the Vermillion Cliffs National Monuments, the wave quilt pattern. So first we're going to talk about some fabric selection that I found worked the best, and then we're going to talk about piecing it and using directional fabric. So this one is well, I will tell you about it. I'll find the selvage when it wants to show up. Let's see, Andover Fabrics is this one, and it was from 2020. So you might not be able to find this exact print, but look for something that is going to have some striations. And I found something that I found the best thing that worked was a print that had thin lines together. I tried this first with some thicker lines that really emulated the wave a lot more, and I did not like that. So this is a great one to fussy cut, and you can see that the lines just kind of go all over, and I chose specific sections. I did not want ones that had a lot of this. I really wanted the lines to match up a little bit more. So please make sure that this is not the first Fiona sandwich pattern that you use. Do make sure that you are familiar with foundation paper piecing, and this will absolutely be easier in English paper piecing, but the same, you can use the same method. So also make sure that you are a little bit familiar with directional piecing, but you will find that this is actually really, really simple, because each of these will be ones that they're really simple. They're like the first ones because of how they go together. You can do this, I promise. So you'll see here that I don't want you to be distracted by anything else other than these lines. So these are the exact direction that the lines go at the wave. So what you will do is make sure, so G1. So when you are piecing, you make sure that the first piece, you always have the wrong sides touching. So this part will be a little bit confusing for when you're doing the first section, but it's no different. Let's say that we're going to use this. It's going to be no different than if you were putting your first piece down. So pretend with me that we were doing G1 and we would want wrong sides together. It's going to be easiest to start with your ones, and then you're going to take your line, pretend like we only have this one here. We're going to take the line and we're going to kind of eyeball where these are here. You don't need to know exactly what is behind the fabric, because if you have the lines that are all kind of going in the same direction, we just want to have just the suggestion of a curvature of the wave. So here's G1. So you'd put your glue down, and then I would fold your pieces back as you normally would, and I would cut the 1/4 inch around. Okay, so then for G2, because this is the second one, you will fold your template over just like you normally would, but this time your fabric is going to be this way. All right, so you're going to fold your template over. I'm going to pull this out here so then you have an idea. Okay, so you can see through the back where the line is. So this is the hardest that it's going to be. So you're going to see your line goes this way, and you're just going to line it up with your lines and lift your fabrics around to make sure, okay, this is going to work. Okay, because make sure that you're using a directional fabric that is going to be just lines, that there's not going to be anything going up and down, so nothing like trees, because that does get to be really confusing. So if you have just lines, and this line here, the line inside of the template piece, that's why these are in a different color, that's why they are offset, so that you know that that's what those are for. So this line is going to line up, roughly speaking, with lines inside of the fabric. Okay, then what I would do is I would pin this here, then I would stitch it, open it up, make sure it's the way that you want it to go, and then do your trimming. Do not press first, especially if this is your first time that you have ever done directional piecing. This pattern will be very, very easy for you. Make sure that you have a lot of extra yardage just in case you make a mistake. But what I have found is when I am learning, I want to make sure that I have sewn it properly, so I won't cut off that extra. I'll open it up and I'll say, yep, this is right. Then I close it back up, close your template back up, and then do your cutting. The other thing that can be really helpful while you are learning directional piecing is to use a basting stitch. So I increase my stitch from 1.6 is what I typically am using right now for foundation paper piecing, and I will increase that to about 3, maybe 4 stitches, and then when I open it up, I can see yes or no. If it's yes, then I fold the fabric back to where it needs to be, and I stitch back over that with a 1.6 stitch because I want to make sure that I stitch it down. The benefit of basting it is that you're not going to have all of these teeny tiny punctures in here, because you can see that, you know, I pulled this out, and I've had this happen quite a lot. I think I had it happen over here too, that sometimes I have to go over something, and it ends up weakening the paper, and you have a nice perforation here, and then the paper separates from itself. If you have that happen, have no fear. It's okay. All you need to do, and in fact, what I'm going to do for this, because I haven't even taken a photo yet of this, is I'm going to put some glue on the back, and then I'm going to just put it back into place. And then you have this is nice and stabilized. So I hope this helps you. Here's a look at the front again. I would not worry about all of these matching up. That is not going to be a big issue, because I don't have this zoomed out far enough. What your eye will do is see the whole picture all together, instead of seeing, oh my goodness, darn it, these don't line up. And I did that on purpose, because it is going to drive you crazy if you try to line all of these up. So I would just make sure that it's really gestural. Make sure that you have a lot of movement in the fabric, but not too much movement. The one that I tried first was more of like a tiger stripe, and that did not. So if you're tempted to buy a tiger stripe, that did not work. Something that has a nice tight line, but still has a lot of movement, because the eye is just going to keep moving around this. And you're not going to see that, oh my gosh, these lines don't even line up. My other tip for you is with the piecing up here, be sure to choose fabrics that are going to fade into the background. I found that I wanted this to be the focus, even though there are a lot of lines going on here and down here, even up here. You can see that there are some lines with the batiks that I used, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, there are lines everywhere, because what I found was that there were too many lines going all over, and I really wanted the focus to be here. If you don't want the focus to be here and you'd prefer to have the focus up here, then I would have all of your lined fabric here, and then I would have this be something that is, it illustrates that there are lines, something like they're fading here, but I still think that there might be some competition. So maybe this is one that you give a try with, you know, just some fabric that you don't care as much about. Maybe this is something that you go into it knowing, I think I'm going to piece this 2 or 3 times to see which one I really like the best. And then go from there. But I hope you enjoy this block. I had so much fun making this. This is probably one of my most favorite. I really liked the way that the lines all came together. Again, have fun with this. Don't focus on the lines lining up. because that part is going to drive you nuts. Focus on it really being gestural, and I promise you the end result is going to be really awesome. Please post your blocks in the Quilt Along group. I love seeing them, and I know that everybody else loves seeing them as well. We'll talk to you later.